Check if this thing is on. Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Brian. And well, while I'm not doing a podcast, I wanted to come on here and talk about the exciting things in wrestling, just to get a video up for you guys because we were gonna do the podcast and start it up, but Manny's equipment is not quite ready. AKA he doesn't have a mic. He kind of uses a controller, but I'm scared that echo might screw up with the audio, and I don't want to go through that whole mess. But also, yeah, like I said, there's just like too much stuff right now to speak all at once. So we're gonna narrow it down to just pay-per-views when Manny gets his stuff. But that's for another time. Today I want to talk about what's coming up today. Today there's a lot of great things coming up. Now, obviously, you have the Indies still going on, you have WWE World going on before WrestleMania, you have Stand and Deliver before WrestleMania, so a lot of things. So we're going to start with the first show that's coming up first, and then we'll get to WrestleMania. So first is Stand and Deliver. I'm going to tell you a little story on why Stand and Deliver has really showed me, you know, why I enjoy a good story and a good wrestling product. NXT, if you remember, was in a weird era, the 2.0 era. The era where they try to get like hot girls on TV, even though they still do. Hot girls on TV, not really an emphasis on storytelling and grittiness that Black and Gold that Triple H had. None of that. All it was just trying to be a developmental plan to put these young talents that were very green at the time, except for a few, in 2.0. I didn't really like 2.0 era. I thought the coloring was dumb. I didn't think NXT needed a rebrand, and I just felt like it's just not quite there. Now these days, NXT is in a much better place. Their talent they have there is some of the youngest talent in all of wrestling. You still have your veterans, like Carmelo Hayes, who's probably going to get called up soon. You have young guys like Trick, who's starting to rise. You have girls like Roxanne, who's starting to find her stride. Lyra Valkyria. You have Sol Ruka, Blair Davenport, Cora Jade when she comes back. You have a lot to stand up with. And the thing that I love about it is they're showing the emphasis on wrestling and storytelling. And I think probably the most underrated acquisition they've made so far, that is, even though it's still so early on, is Shawn Spears, a guy who I thought got really screwed over in AEW with no time. And like I said, every time, I try not to talk about AEW and WWE whole thing because I think tribalism is stupid. I think you should watch what you watch and just enjoy the product. That's my 2 cents. Even if you don't like the product, you can still complain about it. But just don't ruin it for fans that do like it. That's my consensus. Like, you can say your opinion, but don't ruin it for other fans. That's really where I'm at with that whole tribalism and AEW versus WWE. Just let both companies cook. That's where my head is at. I go to AEW events, I go to WWE events, and I like both for either ways. I had a chance to go to Grand Slam. I enjoyed it. I had so much fun. My first Grand Slam, the second Grand Slam was even better. And the third Grand Slam with Eddie and Claudio was money. I had so much fun. Yes, I do agree World's End was a very cursed show because of certain things that happened with Jericho, which, were found out that they were false, and now Jericho is just kind of chilling, It was such a weird timing. And now he's in a weird feud with Hook, but, yeah, I mean, as long as it gets Hook on TV, I can live with it. Yeah, it's just a weird time with Jericho at that point. I don't want to talk about it, but there was still some good stuff on there, right? So, that's one thing. Then WWE is firing all cylinders. Rumble was solid. I would argue, right winners. Then we get The Rock, and The Rock changed everything. And I'll talk about that more in WrestleMania, but you could tell wrestling, as The Rock has said it, and all companies have said it, wrestling is cool again. Wrestling is cool again. It's not because just The Rock is back. No, it's not that. It's not just because Roman Reigns is not just because Cody's like a superhero and Seth is helping and stuff. No, it's not that. It is not that at all. What it is a multitude of companies and wrestling product, from story and doing, in-ring work. That stuff there, that accounts to a whole collection of things, let's just say, right? You have, let's say, I don't know, you have your, what's the word? You have your standouts, and then you have your game changers, like a Jade Cargill and people like that you bring in. Will Ospreay, for example. And then you also have your veterans that still got it, like Roman and Cody and Seth and Randy and KO and people like that are getting up in age, but they're still very good in the ring. So that's why I think wrestling is cool again. People are talking about wrestling again is because they're putting out a product that we can enjoy. It's not a product that is hampered with bullshit and funniness and just blah. Well, yes, there is still some comedy. Alpha Academy, for example, Kira Tozawa, funniest dude on the planet. R-Truth, awesome Truth, funniest dude on the planet. And I hope they win the tag titles tonight, with this new stipulation where, a team has to grab one belt, and another team has to grab another belt, and you have two winners to split the belt. You know what I'm saying? So, but you can still have that funniness, but still have that seriousness that wrestling should have. Because it's wrestling at the end of the day. So, and that's why I think wrestling is really cool, once again, and I think it's well worth going back and watching WWE. I was able to get a guy who didn't watch WWE for low-key for years. And when Roman Reigns came back in 2020, and the booking started getting better with Triple H, he enjoys the product. And he talks to me about wrestling every day. That's how it's done. You want to get old fans back? Give us old things that we enjoy, but show why the new generation of wrestling can be fun, could be exciting. I had a chance to go see the final boss, The Rock, last Monday before the WrestleMania tonight, because he's going to wrestle for the first time tonight, and I'm very interested to see how much training he's done, because it's hard to get an in-ring shape when you're on a short notice. But the dude's a Hollywood star, and he took his time out of his way to train. He trained with the Gallus boys of NXT, which is pretty cool to see. He also had Bobby Roode watching, one of the producers watching, helping him get back in the ring. So The Rock's been training pretty hard to get back in the ring. But again, you still have that uncertainty if he's going to be fresh or he's going to be rusty. Because you're always going to have that in wrestling. But again, I'm going to say that for a later conversation. I had an honor to go see the final boss. Always good to see the Tribal Chief. Got a chance to see Cody. Got a chance to see Seth once again. Got a chance to see Drew, even though he wasn't in the ring. He was backstage. Had a chance to see Jimmy and Jay on the same night, which was fucking sick. And I just had a chance to see an epic beatdown with Cody and The Rock getting his hands on each other, and then Roman clearing it out and standing tall before night one. It was really good stuff. So, with that being said, now on to Stand and Deliver. So, sorry I talked about about WrestleMania. I'm just giddy about it, But for Stand and Deliver, no, I'm giddy about this. Trick versus Mello has potential to be on the level of like a Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa situation. What do I mean by this? When Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa feuded, they was the best feud in the whole company. You had friendship, you had betrayal, you had star power, and you had great wrestling matches. For Trick and Mello, this feels like a Johnny Gargano Tommaso breakup, where Trick was betrayed by Mello. They thought they were Trick and Mello game for life, but Mello got jealous. Mello got jealous of Trick's success, so Mello said, "I gotta change that." And Mello took out Trick for like a month or two. Then Trick comes back, and now it's even. And Trick had to deal with Metaphor for a little bit, finished that, and then focused on Mello once again. And then it was announced for the main event, which I don't like doing about this of race, but I just will say it. 2 first ever African American men main eventing Stand and Deliver, but it's 2 of my favorite guys main eventing a Stand and Deliver, the biggest NXT show of the year. Stand and Deliver is always like the big WrestleMania. That's like the WrestleMania of NXT, because they go above and beyond. Even the 2.0 era, I enjoyed their Stand and Deliver, but again, it was the 2.0 era, so I couldn't really appreciate it, you know. I couldn't appreciate it. But now that we're in a different era, I can appreciate it. Like the white and gold NXT logo, I could appreciate it, you know. So shout out to Shawn Michaels and the team. They've been doing some great work. But yeah, that feud has like Johnny Gargano Ciampa vibes. That's how big this match is. People want to see Trick beat the fuck out of Mello for what Mello did. They want him to whoop that Trick all over Philadelphia. And I'm in that same camp. But that's how you know you're invested in the story and why it works so well. That's how I was with Johnny. When Tommaso Ciampa turned on Johnny Gargano, I wanted Johnny, when Ciampa comes back from injury, to beat the fuck out of Tommaso Ciampa and get that title away from him. Because when he won it off Malachi Black on a random show in Las Vegas, and that was the plan, I was like, it's on. When Johnny gets his bearings and wins his number one contendership, Johnny versus Tommaso is about to slap. And Tommaso, every single end of the takeover, he would attack him with a crutch. Or attack him in the back. And they went back and forth for like 3 matches. The first match, the first time where Tommaso turned heel, had no theme music, it was just boos. Brilliant fucking stuff. Excellent. And then Johnny was the ultra babyface. And I'm trying to remember, did Johnny win that night? I think Johnny won that night. I think Johnny won in New Orleans. I think. Yeah, Johnny won in New Orleans on that night. Crazy. Then they go to Chicago, right? Chicago first Monday weekend. While still, I believe Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne were on that card. That was my favorite match of the night because the UK was just tearing it up. I do think Johnny and Tommaso's match was equal to their first match, but it had more violence because it was a street fight, so there was more violence to it. And I liked that. And the third one, still not as good. The one in Brooklyn, not as good as the first 2. However, was still very good. Still very good. I would argue watch all 3 because they're very good. Now, there was a 4th one in the pandemic, but it's hard to count that one because that one was like almost cinematic based, even though it wasn't. So I'm not going to count it, but if you want to count it, it's your discretion. It's an objective opinion. Let's just put it like that. But I will say, for the time, it was good. But I would argue the other 3 were like the GOAT tier you'd want to watch. If I gave someone who wants to get into wrestling and learn about storytelling and great wrestling and stuff like that, I'd probably show them all of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's stuff. I'd show them the whole collection. The turn, the return of Tommaso, the match with Johnny, that's the 3 matches with Johnny, and then them going heel and teaming up together to make a heel DIY. I would even show them that, because Johnny joined the dark side. He turned on guys like Ricochet and Malachi, and while Johnny did pay for it, because that man ate a black mass, oh boy he did, it was still really cool. So that's how Trick and Mello feels. What else do I like on that card? I give the women a little spotlight. Roxanne and Lyra. The first match they had at Vengeance Day. And I didn't talk about much of Vengeance Day on this, because I was starting my channel up again. Like, it was okay. It was decent. But then Lola Vice cashed in. And that changed everything. Which, I get it. You gotta get that contract offer somehow. Because I would argue she's not ready. In my honest opinion, she's not ready. But she has the signs of potential to be great. She's going to be going in a program with Natalia and Carmen Pekovic, which should be a decent program. Natalia did beat Lola the first time, but Lola could totally beat Natalia the next time. I could totally see it. But Lola has all the potential in the world to be great. After she broke up from Lecha Lopez, she's trying to go on a trajectory, while Lopez got the promotion and joined I got the Phantasma, which, hey, I mean, it is what it is. But yes, I do agree, in my honest eyes, to me at least, I think cashing in for Lola at that time was probably the best case scenario, almost a blessing, I'd say. Because now the trajectory for Lola potentially winning the title in the future is much higher than what we have now. Because I'd say it would have been way too early. You know what I mean? So, just keep that in mind. Yeah, Roxanne and Lyra were having a decent match. It was an alright match. There was a decent amount of heat there. But you can definitely tell Roxy didn't quite tap into what she is now since the build. Something about Roxanne changing her motive and her attitude has made me like Roxanne even more. Now, this is not me sucking up to my friend Frost who just simps over Cora Jade. That's not what I'm going to say here. But I think Roxy does remind me of a little bit of what Cora Jade is trying to do, if she doesn't get hurt. Cora's the mean girl of NXT. She's a girl that wants to win. She wants to win the championship. She doesn't want to do it by getting fan cheers and fan love, even though she loves her fans. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to do it on her own and in her own style. That's how I feel Roxanne has been since doing the arm break on TV to Lyra. That energy that I knew Roxanne had in her has finally come out, and I feel like this is the best version of Roxanne we've had. Not to say she could do a good babyface, because she could play a damn good babyface. But sometimes it's a little bit too bubbly. So going heel could do her some wonders, especially since apparently WWE's been very impressed with Roxanne Perez. And there's a draft coming up, I believe, after Mania. They haven't announced the graphic yet, but Triple H's confirmed there is a draft coming. And I could totally see Roxanne Perez getting called up from NXT. Maybe on Raw, maybe SmackDown. Give or take, let's just say. But definitely for sure Roxanne, if this is her last match in NXT, and Lyra retains, which again, I won't mind if Lyra retains, then I get it. Because she's going to get called up. However, if Roxanne somehow wins the title and they keep her down there for a bit longer, I wouldn't mind that either. Because while I did enjoy her first title run when she won it off released Mandy Rose, right, before all the bullshit came out, when she wasn't supposed to win the title yet, they're supposed to do it at the pay-per-view, but Mandy did kind of that thing, and it caused the rift to switch off and get it off Mandy. Roxanne won the title that night, and I was super happy about it because her and Mandy are great friends. They've done a bunch of parties, a bunch of meetups with her and Cora, so they're close. Same with Roxanne and Cora, of course, they're also close, even though in story they do not like each other. But now I think Cora probably respects Roxanne a lot more since what's been happening. But my point is, right, this is the version of Roxanne needed. Because she's been able to tell way more story, her as a heel. Sometimes baby faces, it's hard to tell story because they're either too bubbly or too nice. You gotta show a meaner side. And Roxanne has finally embraced that. And I'm happy because it really shows what Roxanne is made of. Even if she has to cheat a little bit. So, her and Lyra has a lot of heat going into it. Much more heat than I say their Vengeance Day match. My only hope is if we are going to get an interference, it's not the way the match ends. I want this match to end as clean as possible. Because these two women have worked up so hard, and they were supposed to get a clean finish, but Lola Vice got involved. Now there's no one in front of her. Now it's just Lyra. So while these two are probably going to absolutely kill each other, I want a fair match. I want a clean, consistent match. But sometimes you can't get that, unfortunately. So we'll see. But I digress. Okay? I digress. I think for me, I'm just ready for it. So the women I think are going to go out there and kill it. I expect no less from these two. And I'm really looking forward to Lyra versus Roxanne Perez. I think that match is going to be something else. What else? Like I said, I'm not gonna go through the whole card because there's a decent amount of matches on the card. I'm gonna go through the major ones. The North America Championship, Oba defending in his first ever triple threat with 3 of the biggest dudes in NXT, and Dijak and Josh Briggs. I want to talk about a dude that's rised up to the occasion that I really enjoy. Josh Briggs. Now, you're wondering, where did you meet Josh Briggs? Or introduce myself. You ever remember the company Evolve that WWE bought? That company? Josh Briggs was in that company, and he was like a champion in that company. He was a guy that I really enjoyed. And when I heard he was going to NXT, I was like, yes. Oh God, yes. Because he has the size, he has the strength, he has the power, and dude is a monster. So I was really excited to see, what Josh Briggs got to offer. And Josh Briggs, he showed me a lot. And while yes, he was doing tag team wrestling with his brothers, and had Fallon, which I think Fallon's pretty good. Brooks Jensen, unfortunately, doesn't really have a direction right now, which is unfortunate. I hope he finds a direction and a role, because I really like Brooks Jensen, especially after the whole Love fiasco, which was fucking hilarious, which bled into the 2.0 era, but then it transitioned into the new era. It's a weird thing. Yeah, just a weird thing. But when that group broke up, the one guy I was hoping would finally break out is Josh Briggs. And then he got a pep talk from JBL, a legend in this business that really knows about changing yourself, finding yourself, like how he had to find himself from the APA to now the $1 million snarky heel in JBL. Josh had to find that. Who is Josh Briggs? And as the months go by, I was watching his progress. He was getting more matches, more showcases, and he was doing very well. And then I'm like, okay, what's the one feud that will get me to really praise the turnaround for Josh Briggs? This one. He started feuding with Dijak. And at that point, I was like, okay, I see what you're doing, WWE. I see what you're doing. You're going to rebuild this dude from the ground up and show why Josh Briggs is a scary dude, but also not make him look like a punk compared to Oba and Dijak before Oba got involved. And they did. He got some impressive wins against some great competition. He did lose a few, but he got his opportunity. He won the match, and he's in number one contendership for the North American title. And I love that. I love that they're giving him a chance. Now, again, I don't see him winning. I have Oba retaining. But I think Josh is going to really showcase tonight what he's made of. Because a lot of people know what Josh Briggs is that are super fans. But a lot of the, I don't want to call them casuals, because NXT is a decently hardcore crowd. But the ones that watch NXT slightly or going to their first NXT show and they don't know who Josh Briggs is, he's going to showcase a lot. I think he's going to showcase a lot, and I think him, Oba, and Dijak have massive potential to tear the house down with the 3 biggest dudes in NXT. It's really good stuff, honestly. And now to Dijak. I love Dijak to give. Now, a lot of people didn't know, except for most hardcore fans, didn't know Dijak was formerly Dominik Dijakovic. Dijak, Dominic, you get it. But Dominik Dijakovic is one of my favorite big men in WWE, other than guys like Bronson Reed. Because he's scary athletic, can fly around the ring, hits really hard, and has a sick-ass finisher, the Feast Your Eyes, which he still does. But when I heard he was coming back as Dijak, I was like, yes, no more retribution. And I was like, hell yeah, this is going to be fire. And while I will say, it was a slow burn to get him warmed up. But when him and Wesley went at it, the rest was history. And then the Dragunov feud? Oh, don't even get me started on the Dragunov feud. That was the feud that I thought changed my trajectory on NXT, where I said it's getting a lot better. Because holy hell, that feud was money. And I was so happy. And then he did the feud with Gacy, which was a lot of fun. And now, now he's back in the title hunt. And again, I don't have him winning. He is my second winner, though. So if Oba goes down, I think Dijak would be the perfect, guy to beat Oba. Now on to the man himself. Again, I've spoken so much about Dijak. I know what Dijak is. I'm just excited he's in the match and he's going to go title opportunity. But I want to send more of my praises to the champ, Oba Fleming, the Mountain of a Man Oba. Where did I find out about Oba? Breakout tournament. It was during the pay-per-view when me and Matt were reacting. We saw this guy, Oba Fleming. We didn't think of any of it. We thought it was just a rookie trying to win the breakout tournament. Even Matt was confused, like might be slightly racist, but that's how Matt sees things, you know. And Matt's a very articulated, smart guy. And those NXT watch parties were a lot of fun. I won't even lie to you. A lot of them were very fun. So I definitely will check his praises, and also maybe in the future if he takes off and someone wants to watch NXT, I will totally watch NXT with him again because it was so much fun. That's besides the point, though. My point is basically Oba's been an anomaly. He's been someone that I've watched very closely in the breakout tournament. He was my winner, actually. I think I had him, Lexus, or Riley to win the tournament. But I was very high on Oba, so I was hoping Oba won the tournament. And he already kind of slightly debuted, like, last year for, like, a match or two, and he, like, did a debut, and dude was just monstrous, big boy. I was like, holy, this dude is big. And he was going to be in the breakout tournament. I was like, why do I feel like he seems familiar? Because he squashed someone in, like, 4 or 5 minutes. So I knew about Oba, but I didn't know about this version of Oba. And this was the version that is really, really shined. And the best part about it, dude is still so young. He's not even in the prime of his career yet. It's just beginning. And that man from the African tribe who has a really cool gimmick is running the North American division right now. It's making it the big boy division, I call it, with some of the biggest dudes on the planet while we wait for Wes Lee, who unfortunately got hurt, to come back, which I think Wesley and Oba can be something magical if Wes wants to go back to the North American title, which I could totally see him going after, because he was going to fight Dom, and then on NXT he got hurt again. So Wes Lee got hurt, and now he's out, and then Dom had to win the title. Then Trick Williams won it for 3 days, and then Dom won it back 2 days later. So yeah, so it's kind of a thing with that. But now seems like we finally have a settled champion in Oba. But I've been really impressed with Oba. I'm really excited to see how he's going to do against Josh Briggs and Mr. Josh Briggs, who's a very young, just like Oba, but very talented individual. I'm really excited to see those three throw it down. So I'm really excited for that triple threat. I think it's going to be something really special. And I think it's something that I think people are going to be like, wow, that dude was impressive. Or, wow, this big, monstrous boy was incredible. Like, you know, stuff like that. So I'm really excited, really hyped for that match. And I have a lot of optimism for that match. I'm trying to think. The NXT Championship. This one I'm very interested in. Ilya Dragunov versus the Don, the Mafia boss of NXT, Tony D'Angelo, the Gabagoo. Tony D'Angelo, man, what a hell of a story for Tony D'Angelo. And me and Manny have talked about this because Manny's been very critical of Tony D'Angelo, the way he wrestles. But I would argue sometimes you don't need the wrestling ability to be great. You could have story and be great. Look at the guys like The Miz. The Miz, a solid wrestler, but not on like the level like a Will Ospreay or anyone like that. However, he's great storytelling. You know, his storytelling is ridiculously good in the ring. Tony D'Angelo is just like that. He has almost a fighter mafia boss style, and he's very unique. But he could still wrestle and still could do stuff. And this is going to be the ultimate test. I remember watching Tony D'Angelo in the tag division with his brother in Stax, the underboss. He originally had Colton Carter. I forgot. I don't think he was Stax. I think he was someone else. But Stax is the underboss. He got the underboss title after very impressively getting the Don out of jail after, I think it was the Gallus boys sent him to jail. And he was incriminated, and then he got scot-free after the Stax teamed up with Joe Coffey and beat him on NXT, and now the Don returned right after, and the Don goals was to go for tag team gold, and they got it immediately, and they kind of just held it from there. Chase U did win them, but then they lost them, unfortunately, which was quite unfortunate. But the family, held those titles for a long time. It was a great run. They fought some of the top teams in the world, some of the youngest teams in the world, some of the most craziest teams in the world. It was great. And then they lost the titles to the Wolf Dogs, which the Wolf Dogs also do have a match on this card against Axiom and Nathan Frazier, which I will say I've been very much enjoying that team. And that match with Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, the Wolf Dogs, is going to be fantastic. I can't wait for that. But that's the point. They lost it to the Wolf Dogs, and then Tony D'Angelo had other goals. Tony D'Angelo said he wants to go singles. And I was okay with that because I think he was ready at the time. I didn't think he was ready back in the day, but this one, it makes sense. It's been a natural progression to get him here. But he has to take on the Mad Dragon, the Tsar, Ilya Dragunov. Ilya, I've said so much about Ilya, so I'm going to keep this real short. Ilya Dragunov is easily my favorite NXT superstar, and will probably be one of my favorite main roster superstars in the near future. Dragunov, I've watched Dragunov since NXT UK. Dragunov really caught my eye when he fought guys like Walter, aka now Gunther, of course. He fought him in the Pandemic, which was the stiffest match I've ever seen in WWE in this modern era. Still the stiffest match I've ever seen. Then they fought in the United States at NXT TV, still during the Pandemic. And I would have loved to have those matches in front of crowds. I would have lost my shit if that match was in the crowd. But again, Pandemic, you gotta work what you gotta work with, and they had a whole Capitol Wrestling Center to work with. And then Dragunov gets called up to NXT America, and I was super excited to see what his projection was. And they started him off right. They started him off with some good feuds with a couple of people, and then the infamous Dijak feud. That feud there, I knew at that point, Ilya Dragunov will be NXT champion. And guess what? He became NXT champion. And who did he beat for that title? Carmelo Hayes. So I knew at that point the Tsar was going on a monster run. And he has. His reign has been incredible. His reign has been insane. The dude just loves pain. Now, personally, IRL, I couldn't be a guy like that, where it's just so sadistic, so crazy. Pain is fun. That couldn't be me. No, that couldn't be me. But that's who the Tsar is. That's how Dragunov is. And that's the thing I love about Dragunov. He just doesn't give up. You can hit him with every single move in the playbook. He won't stay down. You can hit him with a finisher. He won't stay down. You can hit him with the signature. He won't stay down. That's how good Senior Dragunov is. That's how I feel Dragunov is. There's something about Dragunov that I just love. And to hear that, he's reigning supreme in NXT and his potential for a call-up, that's a thing that really excites me the most. Because what could Triple H do with him? No, seriously. What could WWE do? So, it's definitely something that, I enjoy. And it's something that I can really account to, Yeah, so definitely something really interesting. I think for me at least, I think Dragunov is going to be... He's going to be a star when he goes to the main roster. They already love him enough. And they want to give him the reports I've heard, which I believe they're true. They're from really good sources. Not my sources, I don't have sources. But from what I've heard, from the news media and the outlets, they want a Gunther-style run for him. And that's what he is in NXT. Can someone break the unbreakable? I don't know. But Tony D'Angelo is going to goddamn try. I do have Dragunov winning this match. I think he's going to hold it on for a bit longer. But if Tony D'Angelo does get his crowning moment tonight, I'm going to be just excited. Because I've been wanting this for Tony D'Angelo for a while. I've kind of wanted this idea of him just reigning supreme, you know, just really, really, really showcasing a lot, you know. I would want that for Dragunov. There's something that I just feel, there's a presence that Dragunov brings, if you get what I mean. There's something about Dragunov that just feels right. So to hear that Dragunov is in the position to win something, you know, it's something that I can what's the word? Appreciate. Let's just put it that. So Dragunov definitely going to be something to behold. And him and Tony D'Angelo, I think, are going to go to war. I think they're going to do some incredible work together. And I think they're going to do some excellent work. So, but I'm really, really excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see what's next for those two. And yeah, it's just something about it is really exciting. Something about this idea of Ilya Dragunov holding the title for a bit longer and then getting called up to the main roster. And if Gunther loses the title to Sammy, let's say, which again I'll talk about a little bit about WrestleMania in a little bit, you could totally, or if Gunther retains, you could totally do Gunther versus Dragunov, have Dragunov be the ghost of Gunther's past, the one guy that could beat him, and have Dragunov win the IC title and just go on a monster run. You could do that. But again, if Sammy wins, you could still do the match. Maybe at Bash of Berlin, Gunther doesn't have an opponent, he wants to fight someone. It's not the World Championship. He fights a past of the ghost, and that's Ilya Dragunov, who shows that the Gunther can be beaten, let's say. So, with that being said, I do think still Dragunov's going to retain. But again, if Dragunov does lose, Dragunov thinks getting called up in the draft. I think he's going up. It'd make no sense for him to keep him after losing, because he's done everything you could think of in NXT. He did the big one goal that he wanted. Even though it's not any other title, you don't need any other title. He got the NXT title. So that's how I feel. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on NXT Stand that I want to talk about. Nah, I think that's it for now. Other than shout out Shawn Spears and Joe Gacy. And then also shout out the 6-woman tag with Fallon and Thea, which Thea's fantastic. So, really good stuff there. Okay, that's it there. Next, WrestleMania. Oh, where do I even begin? Firstly, I want to say happy 40 years of WrestleMania. The 40th installment of WrestleMania, where it all began. It's crazy. It's insane. And Philly, which is a very wrestling-heavy crowd, is getting a good one, I think. So, shout out to my guy Smack. He's from Philadelphia. He's from Pennsylvania. He's going to be going to WrestleMania night 2. And he's going to be heading to Stand and Deliver tonight. So shout out to him. But WrestleMania. Again, I'm not going to talk about everything because there's 2 nights. But I will talk about a few bits and pieces. And yes, I will talk about the Cody thing specifically. And I'll put that into one. But that'll be the last thing we talk about. First, for WrestleMania, I want to talk about the tag team titles, the ladder match. Firstly, brilliant idea to do the ladder match. I think, for sure, definitely do the ladder match. It has a chance to not only split the titles, but it also has a chance to establish other teams other than, say, Judgment Day, who have held those titles for, since the titles turned into the whole Undisputed thing from, I think it was Sami and KO they lost to. Oh no, they won them off. And then from there, it went to Cody and Jay for 3 days, and then back to Judgment Day. So it was kind of like a weird kind of thing. But that's besides the fucking point. The point is, I'm glad they're doing a ladder match. I think WrestleMania should have a ladder match every year. It sets the table. It sets the tone on what you can do, especially since this is on night 1, which is tonight. Starting off with a ladder match or being in like the middle of the card is the way to go, because ladder matches are some of the most fun things in the world, especially with the teams that they have this year. There's a couple funny teams, and there's a bunch of great wrestling teams that are just brilliant. Guys like New Catch Republic, DIY, Judgment Day, Awesome Truth, and I would even argue Austin Theory and Waller, even though I'm not really sold on that team. I do think it's fun that they're great wrestlers, like especially Grayson Waller. I love Grayson Waller. So he could make a viral moment once again. But besides the point, right? Besides the point, I think for me, and the rule is, even though I hope I'm not getting this wrong, so I've been talking about it with many, there's going to be 2 winners. One grabs the Raw titles, one grabs the SmackDown titles, and that's how they're going to split the belts. However, I don't know if that's the case, because a report says that could be the case, and Michael Cole emphasized it on commentary on Raw. But again, I don't know if that's true, because that could be a lie, and one team grabs all the belts and they're walking home. You know? So I don't know. We'll have to find out when the ladder match happens what the rule is, because if one team grabs another belt and the other team grabs another belt, that means they would have split the titles. But they totally do a thing where they're like, oh yeah, one's gonna grab both belts, but then another team sneaks in and grabs the other, and those are your teams. You could do that. Might look a little awkward, but you could pull that off. That is another finish you could pull off. So we'll see what kind of finish we'll do. We'll see where they go with it, but I do want to note, that is what's going on there. Okay? My winners, if the belts are getting split, DIY and Awesome Truth. Now again, you would think I want to pick a heel team, but really the only heel team is Theory and Waller, and I really don't see that happening. I think Awesome Truth should win. I think Truth should win a title. Truth hasn't had a title since the US title in that SmackDown Live era when he won it from Shinsuke. I would argue R-Truth should win a title. Awesome Truth, a great comeback story for Truth after being hurt, still wrestling at 50-something years old, looking in the best shape of his life. Give that man one more title run before that man potentially retires in the future. Do that. And then for DIY, it's been a long time coming. They came so close against Judgment Day. They were so close. It's time for them to win the gold, I would argue. Yeah, that's where I'm at with the tag stuff. I'll talk about one more little thing, and then the Rock and Cody stuff with Roman. Okay? Uso Brothers, Yeet versus No Yeet. This is a match that, on paper, should be really fun. No Yeet versus Yeet. Jay, super popular. Everybody loves the Yeet. I even have a Yeet shirt on to represent tonight for Jay. Jimmy, Team No Yeet, picked up from Roman, picked up from the Bloodline. He went back with the Bloodline, and Jimmy is kind of on a weird thing where he's kind of just like the joke. He takes all the brunts, but he's doing character work in the background. It's really fun stuff. While Jay is doing his own singles run. He's doing pretty well for himself. While Jimmy hasn't wrestled as much. So that's why I think tonight, Jimmy is going to get the win. Because he's finally going to get that big moment of, he can win matches. Because Jimmy's kind of been like the goon, just getting hit. Like on Friday, last night, on SmackDown, he got whipped to hell by Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. But again, showing that he's kind of the joke of the group. But if he can win tonight, I mean, that could do wonders for him. And see his future. Maybe he could do a little more than Solo. Just a thought. And then for Jay, well, again, if he loses, it doesn't hurt Jay. It doesn't hurt Jay, I think. Because Jay is already so over, and he's going to rebound just fine, I think. Because he's been winning a lot lately. So it won't hurt to take a loss to Jimmy. However, if Jay does win, and gets his WrestleMania moment for the first time in his career, by himself. No tag team. I think for me, that's brilliant. I think for me that's brilliant. I think that's the way to go. I think that's a good way to go. So there's really good options for both. Both, you could argue both. Jay can get his moment. Maybe he goes after the IC title. Goes after Sammy or whoever the IC champion is, Gunther, whoever it is. And then for Jimmy, I mean, US title. Maybe finally him and Solo when potentially, and I'll explain why I think Roman could leave, maybe Solo, Jimmy, and Paul ride the ship and have Solo Sikoa and Jimmy go for tag gold. Could totally do that. But that's just me imagining things. I don't think it's gonna happen though. But it'd be cool. Next, but yeah, I think it's just gonna be a good brother versus brother. We've had these brother versus brothers, Owen and Brett, which is one that I reference a lot because as a wrestling fan, you want to go back and watch what the past was. And sometimes it can be hard to watch past wrestling, but Bret Hart matches in the past, I could watch those no problem because they're really some of the best work. And it's just so, like, him and Stone Cold, him and Owen, him and British Bulldog and London, some great matches. So I will give it this. Some old school wrestling is hard to watch back, but Brett's, I would say Razor Ramon, NWO, a little bit of WCW with the Cruiserweights, those are good matches to go back watch because they were so unique. Stuff like that I can watch. The stuff I can't really watch is like the Hogan Andre kind of era where it was really slow, a lot of taunting. I mean, I could watch Warrior and Hogan. That one was good. I could watch that, and him and Macho Man. I could watch that one too, and Macho Man and Rick Steamboat. But really, other than a few of those, I can't really watch like the Hogan Golden era because it's different. It's different compared to what I watch now. But Bret Hart and Owen and all those types of things, I could definitely watch. Okay. Now on to the main thing you probably want to hear my thoughts on. Rock, Roman, Cody, Seth. Firstly, I want to congratulate the wise men, the I would argue the true head of the table. The wise man, the man who speaks a lot of words, the advocate for the reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns, and for Brock, and for Punk, ECW creator, Paul Heyman. Wise Man got his Hall of Fame induction last night. I watched it today. Probably one of my favorite Hall of Fame inductions. He brought out the ECW love. He brought out the Wise Man love. He brought the Punk love. He even did Brock, and he didn't get booed. So it shows that Brock is, in WWE's fans' sake, kind of in the clear for now until something comes up. But Brock, no problem with Brock. So good to hear there. I'm glad he referenced it. It would have been sad if he just kind of like put it all on the wayside due to what happened with Brock. If you know, he was named in the article for the Vince McMahon allegations, and Brock was getting a lot of criticism because it said it was a UFC fighter, and it's not Ronda Rousey because Ronda Rousey, she had a whole different old deal. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think for me, no, I'm just really excited. I'm just really excited for Heyman, and well deserved. Congratulations to all the Hall of Fame inductees. Heyman, The Rock's mom, Leah Maivia. I heard her story. Her story is really unique. Bull Nakano, Japanese women's legend, and person that fought Alundra Blaze. I do got a bone to pick with that one because I did go back and watch that one. Philly fans, what's wrong with y'all? She's such a sweet lady. Why did y'all disrespect her like that? Come on, Philly. I know y'all rowdy. I know y'all as rowdy as Chicago and sometimes New York, but we wouldn't do Bull Nakano that bad. Come on, you better than that. But still, it is what it is. Thunderbolt Patterson had a really cool story, and then obviously Muhammad Ali inducted by one of the GOATs, Undertaker. Yeah, that's a hell of an induction. And Muhammad Ali is like a legend in this business, so it makes sense. Also, the U.S. Express getting in was cool as well. And then obviously, Bray. Thank you, Bray. Bo Dallas, aka Uncle Howdy, was in attendance with his family, the Rotunda family. They put the lanterns up for Bray. Even Bo thanked Bray before he talked about the U.S. Express, which is quite cool, and very, very cool that they did that for Bray. Because I would argue Bray should have been in the induction this year, but I know they wanted to do a documentary, and maybe next year or the year after, I think Bray will probably go in the Hall of Fame, either as a Warrior Award or just a straight up Hall of Fame, as a special Hall of Fame induction, where it's like he's a special legend, where he'll like be immortalized, even though he doesn't have as many achievements title wise. His story and his craft and his human being like deserves a Hall of Fame induction, I believe. But this year they want to do the documentary, which again, the documentary, very emotional, very roller coaster based, and talking about that bond with Bo was really something else. So shout out to WWE for doing a great documentary. But yes, great stuff. But now on to the actual match itself. I'm gonna start with the tag match, and I'll talk about night 2. That's the only thing I'm talking about night 2. Okay. The tag match. This has been a roller coaster of the story. And I remember listening to the Fox interview that Rock did with Will Kane this week, and he talked about that process and how it's gonna work. Original plan was hot babyface Rock, the one that electrifies everybody, no Hollywood, just normal Rock, versus the Tribal Chief in one of the biggest main events, which I would agree, that's the biggest main event you can do. But the timing wasn't right. Cody just won the Rumble in January. Timing wasn't the best. And Rock even admits there was already a story already built up there when Nick Khan and Triple H, and they worked out a deal to get Rock to go heel. And he was in Hawaii at this point. He was probably doing some Moana filming, and he was like, maybe I should go heel. And that was the best decision The Rock can make, because now The Rock as a heel has really, really fit the vibe. I remember, like I said before, and I'm not going to talk about it too much, I went to go see The Final Boss in New York, and I could just feel the presence alone of The Rock is something else. It's seriously a sight to see. So to get that version of Rock in wrestling instead of seeing, because like I said, I never told anyone, I'm gonna tell the public for the first time. I went to the show, if you remember the Kelly Michael show with Michael Strahan before he got replaced. The Rock was there promoting Fast and Furious and WrestleMania 29 before Cena won the title off him. He didn't have the belt with him, but it is what it is. I went there with Steve-O, my stepdad, and my mom got tickets to go to the thing. We got a special like little sneak peek. They showed us around, and we got a chance to see The Rock in person. And The Rock's talking about there. I wasn't able to take any videos or photos, unfortunately, but The Rock was there, and I was in the studio audience. I can even remember you could clearly see me on cable because they put it up on cable. We recorded it. Even though unfortunately that's lost. I can probably still find it. You can see me and Steve in the background clapping as The Rock appears. So it was really awesome stuff. Oh. Sorry, my mic dead. It was really awesome stuff, and I was really happy with going there because I got a chance to see the great one. You know, I got a chance to see him. And there was a potential chance that my mom knew a producer on set to go meet The Rock. However, unfortunately, that didn't happen, and I was very sad. I thought I was going to meet The Rock. Unfortunately, no. But again, it is what it is. It was just cool to be in the presence of The Rock. But again, I was so young, so I didn't understand it and appreciate it as much. But now I appreciate it a lot, especially getting a chance to see him in wrestling again. Because I didn't get a chance to see those early years of Rock. The prime eras of Rock, they call it. I got him at about close to not even his end, but like potential end with like him and Punk, him and Cena. But this part 2, not part 1. That's where I started watching. So I really didn't get a chance to see Prime Rock. You know, him and Austin, never got a chance to see it. IRL. AKA when I was alive, because I was a kid. I didn't understand wrestling. I was a Thomas, the Tank Engine, and stuff like that. Like kid stuff. That's what I was into. So I never got a chance to appreciate wrestling. But as I gotten older, I've learned it, and I've understood it. I appreciated wrestling, and I'm glad I do, because wrestling is freaking great. There's no bad things about wrestling. But yeah, so it was really cool to see The Rock in his natural form. But hearing the interview with him and Will Kane explaining how they pivoted from him being a heel, watching him being a babyface to a heel, while it threw the story all off because they had to explain it through the presser and the rest, it was still really good. And this story has been fantastic. It's my probably, other than Bayley and Io, my favorite story in WWE right now is Cody, Seth, Rock, Roman. Now, can I agree with the masses that Roman has kind of felt like a backseat? Not an afterthought, a backseat. Sure. I can agree with that. I can agree that Roman definitely felt like a backseat as The Rock graces his presence every week, basically, because he was there for like at least 3-4 weeks until he stopped in Memphis, took a break, and then he made a surprise appearance in Chicago to do the infamous attack to Cody. And then he was at the Hall of Fame last night, and he even took a little shots at Cody, which was quite good. But again, it was just so interesting to see that. But again, The Rock was so good in that. So while yes, I do agree, Roman felt like almost not an afterthought, but a backseat. It was fine with me because we were trying to introduce The Rock back into wrestling. That was the goal. But I do like how they haven't quite showed dissension yet. And I'll explain why I say yet. Yeah, and like I said, you could do Roman Rock whenever now, since The Rock said he's not done with wrestling. Yes, he's gonna go film a movie, maybe return to SummerSlam. You know how that is. But it shows that The Rock is interested and passionate for professional wrestling. He's not a guy that's in for just the, even though they're gonna make money, but he's not in it for just the paper. He cares about this shit. He cares about this. And I'm super happy that he bought his full power, full energy into it. Because if he was half-assing it, it wouldn't be authentic. But again, authentic is key. So he kept it authentic. He kept it as The Rock would always be. It's brilliant stuff. Bought back the Versace jacket, the glasses. Oh, it's been so good. Cody's story has been wild. It really has. Cody's story in a bubble is a chaotic, good mess. It's entertaining as hell, amazing stuff, but also kind of messy. Because at one point, right? At one point, it looked like Cody was going to finish the story no matter what. And Bayley and Io was going to main event night 1. But then when the tag match was announced, the greatest tag match potentially in WrestleMania history, which I do agree it's up there. It just kind of fell apart. And now Io and Bayley, while I am happy they're getting night 2 though. They're getting the night 2 spotlight, which is well deserved. Yeah, it's just such a thing of just surprising. I didn't think we were going to get a tag match. But we're not only getting an epic tag match that's going to be probably a chaotic mess, we're also going to be getting the main event we want, which is Cody versus Roman. But the difference with this tag match is it could be Bloodline Rules. Which again, you're like, what the hell is Bloodline Rules? Bloodline Rules is basically no DQ. Bloodline members are allowed to get involved, anytime during the match. So if Rock wanted to get involved, The Rock can get involved. If Solo wants to get involved, Solo can get involved. Any of those guys can get involved to help Roman. If The Rock and Roman win the tag match tonight, which, yeah. But yeah, Cody's story's been crazy. It's been insane. It's been a ride. But I feel like we've reached the climax. We're literally at the climax, and now we're about to go down to the finish line. Because while yes, tonight I do think The Rock and Roman will win the tag match. I think it just makes sense. Because firstly, you don't want The Rock losing. First of all, you do not want The Rock losing on night one. You don't want that. But also, I kind of want Bloodline Rules. It'd be disappointing if it's not Bloodline Rules. Even though the idea was bought up. Because the way they did it on Raw, which I got to change, I think it was Seth and Solo, it was doing very well. And then the Bloodline got involved. And then that's where it all broke apart. But that was the fun chaoticness of it. That's what I want with this, this match on night 2, which I'll explain more what I want from that, in my opinion. I think Bloodline Rules is the way to go. And a lot of people are like, oh, you would argue the Rumble match should get a main event, and, fuck Rocky for taking those spots. To those people, those old heads that have the boomer energy of so-and-so should main event if they win the Rumble. I say to that written rule can be changed. Yes, they always say, the winner of the night gets a main event at WrestleMania. But WrestleMania is 2 nights. So Seth's match could have been Punk. But you know what happened with Punk? Punk got hurt. So now it was Drew. Drew had to win the Chamber. For Bayley and Io, I get it. I understand. But again, you're still getting rewarded because it's on night 2. If it was on night 1, then I'd say, yeah, that's kind of messed up. But they're doing it at night 1, and they're giving Rhea night 2, and then they're gonna give Rhea night 2. So you kind of win in that case. So that whole energy of, oh, this Hollywood star is stealing spots from people that younger should be main eventing or having their moment, just spare me, because The Rock is not doing that. The Rock is doing that to help a star in the making potentially make his moment. You got to keep that in mind, because we all know, hate him or love him, even though he's not really a controversial guy, but there's always this weird spot of people that just don't really like Cody, which it's probably just leftover AEW fans that keep complaining. He's a star, and he's an even bigger star in WWE, I would argue. Yes, he was an EVP and everything like that. I get that. But he is not as a star as much as he was in AEW. Because nobody appreciated him. Everybody booed him because he was an EVP and he didn't want to go heel. But then he comes back to WWE, gets the biggest love. There's a difference. There's a difference. And I would even come out and say there's a difference. That's another conversation for another day. My point is, this tag match is going to be incredible. Not people in my chat, but the boomer energy of like a guy that's an old school kind of guy could probably complain about it and not respect the now. But that's just, and I'm not going to say names, but that's just the guy that just cares about old wrestling, and that's okay. You could live on nostalgia, you could live on the past, you could do that. But you're not going to experience what the future holds. Because there's a lot of stars in there that are future stars. I'm just saying. But hey, that's just my opinion. But back to the tag match. Yeah, the tag match, I have Rock and Roman winning. Potentially, and I heard this from Manny's side, which he could be correct. Drew McIntyre was talking to Paul Heyman on Raw in the background of one of the segments. I could totally see Drew getting involved and screwing over Seth Rollins. And Cody's got to go in alone. And The Rock and Roman will handle it quick. Because if Drew could send a message to Seth before their match with, yes, CM Punk is on commentary, by the way, I think you could do something there. I really think you could do something there. But if there's no Drew and The Rock and Cody and Seth lose, it's going to give more doubt to the people that think Cody can finish the story. So, that's potential. Now on to the night 2 itself. That's the tag match. Looking forward to that tonight. Now let's talk about night 2. Night 2 is the night that I'm most interested in. Okay? Because, and this is because I believe, right, this is the match that everybody wants. People can argue it. People can be like, oh, that's not what we want. No, this is the match you want. The rematch. The most anticipated rematch in WrestleMania, probably history. Cody versus Roman. Now, the first time, a lot of people just loved it as a great wrestling match, because it was a great wrestling match. But Solo got involved in the end, and Cody had Roman beat. I would argue, if Solo wasn't involved, Cody beats Roman. Easy. And this year, I was 50-50 split. I was 50-50 split with Roman and Cody. Because, do I want Roman to continue this dominant reign and lose to maybe a younger guy? Yeah, probably. Because you could do something special with that. However, do I want Cody to finish the story? Yes, I do want him to finish the story. I want him to get his moment with the titles. I want him to get that dusty moment at WrestleMania. And a lot of people can argue it could be an MSG. Sure. But I would argue the moment should happen at WrestleMania on the biggest stage. Not to say if he does it in MSG, whereas Papa almost did it, is a big moment. Because it is. But that's a small arena. That's a small place. WrestleMania is in front of hundreds of thousands of fans in that stadium. So, I think doing a WrestleMania is the obvious choice. For sure. I think it's the obvious choice. I think it's the right choice. I think it's the perfect choice to do it. Now, for me, in my honest opinion, I think for me, this year, I think, has to be the year. I know a lot of people saying it might be too early. And you might be right. Cody's run could be mid. That, even though I'm not necessarily worried on it, because Cody is just elevated with a title. I mean, look what he did with the TNT title, you know? Just saying. I can see where people say it might be mid, or it might be too early. But I would actually disagree. I think it's the perfect time. Cody has had about 1.5 years to 2 years to build up his name. To build up everything. And Cody finishing the story is probably the right choice. Because at some point, Roman's got to go down. And while I'm going to give all my praises to Roman Reigns, I'm going to thank my tribal chief. I'm going to thank everything in the moment when that pin count hits 3, win or lose, I'm going to be thanking, round of applauding Mr. Tribal Chief. No matter what. But I believe it just feels like the right time. It feels like Roman is in the corner. Yes, he has The Rock to protect him. But, again, that could backfire in any way possible. And that's why I think it's going to mostly happen. But it's still going to be a clean match, I think. So, I'm not going to say, like, match back and forth, like, how it's going to go. But I will throw in a couple of notes that I took. I think The Rock is going to have a scare where you think he's going to screw over Roman on accident, but Roman maybe kicks out. And The Rock's like, phew. Then The Rock, I think, might get taken out by a couple name legends to help out Cody. I think Jay is going to get taken out by either Solo or Jimmy, because I think Jimmy and Jay will make it to night 2 to help. Seth's not going to be at 100% because he's going to fight Drew on the same night. So he's a question mark, but I think Seth will be there in some way. And for the people that are saying Seth will turn on Cody, no, I don't see that. The reason I don't see that is because they've been really building up this relationship between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. I don't see a heel turn. I just don't see it. It just doesn't feel right. If Seth turns on Cody just because he doesn't want to finish the story, why would Seth align himself with Cody and fight Roman? Because he's hated Roman from the beginning, ever since he became the tribal chief and they first fought at the Royal Rumble. They hate each other. So I would argue turning Seth heel on Cody is a really bad idea. WWE, don't do it. I'm just being honest. Don't do it. But back to my point. Yeah, something's going to happen in the middle. Seth, Jay are taken out. And Cena and... Mr. Cody needs help. Right? My first thought would have been John Cena because he's there. The problem with that, I heard he's actually not supposed to be doing anything contact related. So you could probably cross out Cena as unlikely because he has Peacemaker to film. And we don't want Cena getting hurt before Peacemaker. No. We don't want that. So I'm going to say no on the Cena thing. But one dude I do see, I see Stone Cold. I know it's kind of a thing where maybe not, but I think I do see Seth getting taken out, and they need an extra person, and Cody calls an extra backup, and that backup, you just hear the glass shatter, and Stone Cold comes out and starts stunnering everybody for that nostalgia pop. And maybe Cody calls in another legend, another favor. Don't know who that could be, but let your minds consent. I'll just keep it at that. But I do think we might get like a Stone Cold appearance. He stunners everybody. Doesn't mean the match is over, but he'll even the odds for Roman Cody to have their 1v1. And then Cody will win that 1v1. And that's how he's going to finish the story. Now, does this mean the story is over? No. Because I think after they show the highlights, because they always show the highlights after Celebration and everything, they're going to cut back to Roman and Rock. And Roman just in a heap. Probably really sad. He just lost his championship. He's in disarray. He just lost everything he earned. The tribal chief. Everything is hurt. Right. The Rock gets in the ring. And it looks like The Rock is going to give him like a hug for his effort. But then The Rock looks at Roman and gives that stare of, you're getting your ass dropped. And he hits him with a rock bottom. Fans boo because they're going to be thank you Roman. Like they're going to be thank you Roman. Like they're going to do that because now they respect the hell out of Roman. There's a respect level there. They boo him, don't get me wrong. But there's a respect level of how much work Roman has changed the business and changed WWE's trajectory for the better. You know what I'm saying? But we all know Roman needs a massive break. He needs rest, or at least a few months off, because Roman has done so much for the company. And a well-deserved rest is the way to go for me. So he gets rock bottom by The Rock, and that takes out Roman for a long time. And it takes out The Rock too, because The Rock also is going to be doing a movie. So it takes out both of them to set up their match, Rock versus Roman, at probably next year's WrestleMania, or starts planting the seeds for that match. Now, if Roman does lose the title, where does Roman go from here? I kind of see him as a Brock Lesnar contract, where he'll come in and do cool matches and dream matches, and then maybe go away for a little bit and rest himself. And he could do it with younger talent. He could do it with some people on the roster. Like, I'd love for him and Seth to go 1v1 again, because I think we were robbed at the Royal Rumble when Vince was booking it. I thought we were robbed. I'd love to see a rematch between those two in the Triple H era. I think that'd be amazing. Or, like you can go back to maybe one of the brothers. He could fight someone new, like someone getting called up, maybe like a Braun Breaker. Could do something like that. And this consensus on him turning face, I could see the vision where he is the tribal chief and he's a face, but I won't lie to you, it looks very weird. But you could make him a badass, where he's like a respectful tribal chief, but he's not like goofy. He's like serious, like a cool ass badass when he was supposed to be with the military vest when he was part of the Shield, like that kind of Roman coolness with the tribal chief, the music, and everything like that. He could be cool. So for Roman's sake, I think Roman, kind of does that going forward. However, I could totally see Roman asking for a rematch from Cody, one more rematch, to do a trilogy. But Roman is on a more respectful level. He gets the handshake from Cody. He finally gives him the respects that, because he's probably gonna be like, I disrespected you a lot, but you've done a lot for this business, and I respect that. Even though I still don't kind of like you, I don't hate you as much. Kind of like that, in a way, which would be really cool. But again, if that doesn't happen, I could totally see Roman coming back still as a heel, trying to win his title back, and Cody, maybe cleanly instead of a chaotic match, gets a clean 1v1 victory against Roman at, say, SummerSlam. But if not, I mean, you can argue you could do Cody versus Rock, which is what people kind of want to see. Which that would be The Rock's first big singles title match in history in a long time. You could do that. If you want to keep The Rock heel for a bit longer before you do Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania probably next year, and I think the plan is either Vegas or Minnesota. And I could totally see Roman Reigns versus Rock, obviously, and then I could also see Cody versus Rock. Because that's kind of the thing that I've seen from this feud the most, except for, unfortunately, Roman take a little bit of a back burner, is Rock versus Cody. Because they went back and forth on social media. They went back and forth on Instagram. They went back and forth on Raw. They didn't do it face-to-face, but they did it on two different brands. So, I believe Rock and Cody could totally be a match that I could see happen for the goodwill, And that's just how and those are my thoughts. Before I close this up and go, enjoy whoever's watching. Enjoy your WrestleMania. Enjoy your Night 1, Night 2 extravaganza. I'm going to be doing the same with Manny. It's going to be a lot of fun. And just enjoy wrestling, because this week is about celebration. It's not about who wins and loses. It's not about taking it too serious. This year is about celebrating that wrestling is back and it's cool again. That's what it's all about. And with that being said, I must bid you adieu. Goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bang. I will see y'all in the future.